Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer. A dusty box of loose change rattles in your hand, and inside sits a copper penny from 1963 with a tiny letter D stamped just below the date. You toss it aside without a second thought. But here's the terrifying truth. That same penny, if you knew what to look for, could sell for nearly $1 million today. Now let me ask you, how many pennies have you let slip through your fingers without ever checking their secrets? Don't answer too quickly because the answer may cost you your financial freedom. Pause for a second. What if I told you that the average American has at least one coin in their home right now worth more than they think? And yes, one particular 1963 D Lincoln cent has been valued at an astonishing $963,000 in today's market. That is not a typo. Let's step back in time. The year is 1963. President John F. Kennedy is alive. Gasoline costs 30 cents a gallon. And the U.S. Mint is striking billions of Lincoln cents at lightning speed. Most were ordinary, tiny discs of copper zinc alloy, meant to buy gum, pay for bus fare, or vanish into piggy banks. But among these billions, a few carried mysterious errors, microscopic flaws, and rare conditions that transformed them from pocket change into treasures. Here's where fear turns into excitement. Imagine holding one of these rare survivors. The 1963 D penny in pristine condition, untouched by circulation, carrying a rare minting anomaly. This is the coin that can change a life. Collectors today would pay nearly $1 million for it. That's not just a coin. That's a house, a retirement plan, and generational wealth, all trapped in a single cent. Now you may be wondering, what makes these pennies so rare? Here's the secret. First, condition is king. A coin graded mint state with sharp edges and luster that shines like fire can multiply its value 10, 50, even 100 times. Second, the D mint mark means it came from Denver, where die variations and striking errors occasionally slipped through unnoticed. Third, history itself plays a role. Each 1963 penny carries the final chapter of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series before the assassination of Kennedy shocked the nation and reshaped American currency forever. But here's the kicker. Not every 1963 penny is valuable. Most are worth a single cent. Some may bring you $1 or $2. Yet 1 in a million, literally, holds the power to catapult you into a new tax bracket overnight. So here's my challenge to you. Go find that old jar of coins sitting in the closet. The one you haven't touched in years. Pull out every 1963 penny you can find. Look closely at the date. Search for the D mint mark. Hold it up to the light. Do you see that gleam? That detail? That spark of perfection? Because that is where wealth hides. And let's be honest. Some of you will laugh and say, pennies aren't worth my time. But think about this. If someone offered you a lottery ticket with a 1 in a million chance at $1 million, would you throw it away? Or would you scratch it just to see? That's exactly what we're talking about here. Here's the urgent truth. Rare coins are not just collectibles. They're wealth vehicles. They're assets that grow, appreciate, and carry history in their veins. And in today's uncertain economy, the people who recognize these hidden treasures will be the ones who secure their financial independence. Now, imagine the moment. You discover your own 1963 D penny. You send it to a grader. Weeks later, the call comes in. The verdict is mint state perfection. Auction day arrives. The bidding begins. Numbers flash across the screen. And before you know it, the gavel falls at $963,000. It sounds like a dream. But dreams like this are real. So ask yourself right now. Will you be the person who ignores this message and lets fortune slip away? Or will you be the one who checks your coins tonight, who takes action, who refuses to miss this once-in-a-lifetime chance? Because the $1 million penny isn't just a story. It's an invitation, and it may already be sitting in your pocket. Imagine holding a coin so small it could slip unnoticed into a pocket of loose change. Now imagine that same coin carrying the power to transform your life forever. Yes, I'm talking about the humble 1971 Lincoln Memorial Penny, minted in Denver, marked with a tiny D below Lincoln's portrait. A coin most people spend without a second thought. But here's the twist. This ordinary-looking penny has shocked the coin-collecting world by reaching a market value of up to $971,000. Let that sink in. A single cent, worth nearly $1 million. But before you race to check your coin jar, stay with me. Because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to reveal the hidden story behind this 1971 D. Lincoln penny, how to know if you have one of these life-changing coins, and why the clock is ticking for those who want to cash in, and fair warning. If you turn away now, you might miss the opportunity of a lifetime. Pattern interrupt. Think about it. How many pennies have you tossed into tip jars, vending machines, or even lost in the couch cushions? What if one of them could have paid off your mortgage? That's not just irony, that's financial heartbreak. Now, let's peel back the curtain. The year was 1971. America was shifting. Post-Vietnam anxieties, economic uncertainty, and everyday citizens clinging to the value of every dollar. In the middle of it all, the Denver Mint pressed millions of pennies into circulation. Almost all were common, but a handful, an unbelievably small handful, emerged with anomalies, minting errors, subtle differences, imperfections invisible to the naked eye but priceless to the trained collector. So what makes the 1971 D penny so valuable? First, rarity. In numismatics, the science of coins, rarity is king. The Denver Mint struck billions of pennies in 1971, but only a tiny fraction emerged with specific die variations and flaws that now make them treasures. Second, condition. Imagine a penny surviving 50 years without scratches, dents, or discoloration. Almost unthinkable. Yet, when these coins appear in pristine mint state grades, collectors will pay astonishing sums. And finally, demand. There's a quiet storm brewing in the collector's market right now. Wealthy investors, hedge funds, even international buyers are turning to rare coins as safe havens for money. While some buy gold, others buy history. And the 1971 D. Lincoln penny has become a symbol of that shift. Cliffhanger transition. But here's the real kicker. The reason this coin isn't just a collector's item, but potentially your golden ticket. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a small Ziploc bag, filled with pennies you've had for years. The clerk picks one out, squints through a magnifier, and suddenly his expression changes. He sets it aside gently, almost reverently, and tells you, "Do you realize what you're holding?" That moment has already happened for a few lucky people. And for them, life has never been the same. The highest verified sales of a 1971 D. Lincoln penny have climbed into hundreds of thousands of dollars. And today, the current market value stands at a staggering $971,000. That's enough to buy a dream home, pay off debts, or secure your retirement. But here's the urgency. Coins don't wait. Markets shift. Collectors move fast. If you're holding a rare penny and you don't know it, you could be sitting on untapped fortune. So what should you do right now? Step 1. Gather your pennies from 1971. Flip them over. Look for the D Mint mark beneath the year. Step 2. Check the coin's condition. If it's sharp, untarnished, and shows no obvious wear, don't spend it. Step 3. Get it appraised by a certified numismatist. Because only an expert can confirm if your coin is one of the rare variations commanding sky-high values. Pattern interrupt. And please, don't try cleaning your coin. It's a penny, not a car windshield. Cleaned coins lose value instantly. Now, let me leave you with this. Every great fortune begins with a decision. Some invest in stocks, others in real estate, but sometimes destiny hides in the most unexpected places. Like a penny jar, like your kitchen drawer, like the forgotten piggy bank in your attic. The 1971 D. Lincoln penny is not just metal. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from hard labor or big investments. Sometimes it comes from awareness, from knowledge, from seizing opportunity before it slips away. So tonight, before you fall asleep, ask yourself one question. What if the key to your financial future has been sitting in your pocket all along? And that, my friend, is the power of a single penny. Imagine this. You're holding a coin so ordinary, so familiar, that you've probably passed it along at the grocery store or dropped it into a parking meter without a second thought. A 1977 Lincoln Memorial penny with a tiny D Mint mark under the date. Nothing special, right? But here's the twist. That very same coin, the one you might find buried in an old coffee jar or tucked away in your grandfather's desk drawer, has a secret. A version of it exists that collectors are willing to pay, brace yourself, up to $977,000 for. Yes, nearly $1 million. For a single cent. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could a penny, literally the lowest form of American currency, climb to a value higher than most people's homes? That's what we're about to uncover. Before we dive in, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you actually really looked, at the pennies rattling around in your pocket or purse? You might laugh, but after this video, I promise you'll never glance at loose change the same way again. Stay with me, because in just a few minutes, you'll know why the 1977 D penny has become one of the most electrifying treasures in the world of numismatics. And by the end, you'll be equipped to spot one for yourself. If you're lucky, let's rewind the clock. The year is 1977. The country is recovering from economic turmoil. Elvis Presley has just left the building forever. And in Denver, Colorado, the U.S. Mint is quietly pressing out millions of Lincoln Memorial cents. Copper coins with Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front, the memorial on the back, and the small D mark to show their birthplace. On the surface, they were ordinary. Tens of millions were minted. So how did one climb the ladder of rarity to nearly $1 million price tag? Here's where the story tightens. Not every coin is born equal. Some leave the mint with microscopic errors, anomalies, or flaws that the human eye barely registers, until years later, when collectors notice something extraordinary. Doubletis, off-center strikes, unique minting quirks. And in 1977, the Denver Mint produced pennies with characteristics so rare, so peculiar, that they became unicorns in the collecting world. Think about it this way. Imagine buying a factory car off the lot, but yours accidentally left the factory with a one-of-a-kind feature that no other car in the world has. Overnight, it's no longer just a car. It's a collector's dream. That's what happened here. And here's where fear creeps in. How many of these coins passed through people's hands, never to be seen again? How many slipped into cash registers or worse, into the trash? The thought alone should send a shiver down your spine, because one coin you may have ignored could have rewritten your financial destiny. Now let me interrupt with a pattern break. Imagine walking into Starbucks, pulling out a penny to pay. Yes, a penny. And the cashier looks down at it, then looks back at you and says, "Sir, do you realize you just handed me almost $1 million? That's not a transaction. That's a robbery in reverse." Back to the chase. Today, high-grade, flawless 1977 D Lincoln cents, especially those with rare die varieties, are fetching astronomical prices. The current market value? A staggering $977,000. And here's the catch, only a tiny handful are known to exist at that level, which means the clock is ticking. Every day, more coins are lost, destroyed, or simply overlooked. So here we are. You're now staring at the possibility that 1 cent could change your life. But let me be clear, this isn't just about money. This is about opportunity. The opportunity to be the one who looks where others don't. The opportunity to find hidden value in the most ordinary of places. I want you to picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table late at night, rolling pennies you've had stashed away for years. Your fingers are tired, your eyes are blurry. And then you see it. A 1977 penny with a D mark. But something looks off. Your heart races. You take a closer look. Could this be it? Could this be the key to a new chapter in your life? That's the cliffhanger of every coin hunter's journey. You never know when that moment will arrive. Now, here's my advice. Don't dismiss your pocket change. Don't assume pennies are worthless. Check every coin. Use a magnifying glass. Research error varieties. Because the difference between 1 cent and nearly $1 million is smaller than the width of a human hair. And if you think this is just a story, remember this: ordinary people, not experts, not millionaires, but everyday folks just like you, have cashed in on finds like these. And the next story could be yours. So ask yourself, what would you do with $977,000? Pay off your home? Retire early? Travel the world? Maybe build the life you always dreamed of but never thought possible? Don't wait. The coins are out there waiting to be discovered. And the only thing standing between you and wealth is a few moments of attention to the change in your hand. Because sometimes, the smallest coin carries the largest fortune. Imagine this. You walk into your attic, open a forgotten box of coins, and inside lies a single brown penny. A penny so ordinary, so dull, so forgotten, that you almost toss it aside. But what if I told you that same penny could be the key to a $976,000 fortune? Yes, you heard that right. A coin with no mint mark from 1976, the Lincoln Memorial Cent, has the power to turn an everyday person into a millionaire. Now before you roll your eyes and think, come on, it's just a penny, ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at one? Could you already be holding a life-changing treasure in your pocket without even knowing it? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to unravel a story that blends history, mystery, and cold hard cash. By the end, you'll know exactly why this 1-cent coin, minted nearly 50 years ago, is creating waves in the rare coin market today. Let's rewind to 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial. Flags flew on every street, parades filled every town, and citizens lined up to collect special coins marking 200 years of independence. The spotlight was on quarters, halves, and dollars with bold bicentennial designs. But in the shadows, the humble penny continued its quiet march, unchanged, unnoticed. Most people ignored it. But here's where the story twists. Among the billions of pennies produced, some left the mint without a crucial mark. No letter, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just a blank, an eerie silence on the surface of the coin where history expected a mint mark. Now, why does this matter? In the world of coin collecting, silence can speak louder than sound. That missing mark transforms an ordinary cent into a rare specimen, a ghost of the minting process. And rarity, my friend, is the birthplace of value. Picture this. Thousands of collectors, dealers, and investors are scouring old jars and family piggy banks, searching desperately for the elusive 1976 Lincoln, cent with no mint mark. Each time one surfaces in pristine condition, flawless, sharp, glowing like it was struck yesterday, its value skyrockets. One such coin has already stunned the market, fetching a staggering $976,000 in private sale. Think about that. A coin worth 1 cent turned into almost $1 million. And the frenzy isn't slowing down. Now, let me pause here. I know what you might be thinking. Why would anyone pay that kind of money for a penny? Isn't that insane? Well, it might seem crazy until you realize this. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying history. They're buying exclusivity. They're buying the chance to own something almost no one else on earth has. Quick question. When's the last time you even bent down to pick up a penny on the street? Most of us don't. We walk past it. We laugh at it. Yet right now, you're discovering that the same little coin you ignore could buy you a mansion, a yacht, maybe even freedom from financial worry. Makes you think twice about loose change, doesn't it? Here's the urgent truth. Coins like the 1976 no mint mark penny don't sit around forever. The market is ruthless. Once collectors lock them away in private vaults, they vanish from circulation, sometimes for decades. That means every day you wait, your chances shrink. Imagine the regret of discovering that you once held the very coin everyone is hunting for, only to have spent it at the corner store years ago. That is the kind of story that keeps coin enthusiasts awake at night. But here's the good news. Opportunity hasn't passed you by yet. That little jar of pennies in your kitchen, that shoebox under your bed, they might hold your $1 million ticket. All it takes is one careful look. And when you do find it, when you hold a 1976 no mint mark penny in brilliant condition, you're not just holding copper. You're holding possibility, freedom, wealth, a future rewritten by something so small it fits in the palm of your hand. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Tonight, when you check your change, will you see just another penny? Or will you see the life-changing treasure everyone else overlooked? Because remember, the next millionaire could be you. And it all starts with one coin. Imagine this. You're holding what looks like just another old penny. Brown, scratched, maybe even sitting in a dusty jar on your kitchen counter. Nothing special, right? But what if I told you that tiny coin could be worth nearly $1 million today? Yes, a simple 1981 Lincoln Memorial penny, struck with a D mint mark in Denver, has shocked the coin world by reaching a current market value of $981,000. That's right, penny, almost equal to the price of a luxury mansion. Sounds unbelievable? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why this penny is commanding life-changing sums, how to tell if you have one, and the urgent steps you need to take before your potential fortune slips through your fingers. Quick question. Have you ever thought, why should I even care about old pennies? They're worth just 1 cent. Well, so did the people who accidentally spent these coins at grocery stores decades ago. Can you imagine being the guy who handed over $1 million coin for a pack of gum? Ouch. Let's dive in. First, why 1981? On the surface, it was just another year for the U.S. Mint. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design was still in play, as it had been since 1959. But the truth is, 1981 was a pivotal year in American coinage history. It was the last full year before the penny transitioned from mostly copper to a cheaper zinc composition. Collectors call these copper-era pennies the final breath of quality in the Lincoln Memorial series. That alone makes them historic. But here's the twist. Not every 1981 D penny is worth millions. The vast majority, they're worth face value. But a small handful, and I mean razor-thin small, carry hidden minting errors, microscopic differences, or pristine conditions so rare that collectors will fight tooth and nail to own them. Picture this, a coin pressed slightly off-center. Or a double die error where Lincoln's profile looks shadowed. Even the tiniest flaw, when preserved in high grade, can transform a penny into a treasure chest. Now, here's the kicker. One of these rare 1981 D Lincoln pennies recently shocked the market when it sold for nearly $1 million. Exactly $981,000. That's not just pocket change. That's wealth that could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, or allow you to finally live that dream lifestyle you've been imagining. But before you go racing to your coin jar, take a deep breath, because not every coin will be the golden ticket. And here's where fear comes in. If you overlook the signs, you might literally spend a fortune by accident. So, how do you know if you're holding the right one? Let's talk about the clues. Step 1. Look for the mint mark. A tiny D just beneath the year tells you it was struck in Denver. Without it, you're holding a different coin entirely. Step 2. Examine the coin's condition. Collectors demand near-perfect grades. No scratches, no dullness, no wear. Think of it like diamonds. A flawless gem is priceless. A scratched stone is just another rock. Step 3. Search for errors. Dubletis. Misstrikes. Off-centers. Tiny details the average eye misses. And here's the exciting part. Sometimes even experts overlook these mistakes, which means the fortune may already be in your possession, hidden in plain sight. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked the pennies lying around your house? Or the ones hiding in your dresser drawer? Could you be sitting on $1 million without even realizing it? This is the moment where ordinary people separate themselves from the crowd. Some shrug and think, it's just a penny. Others take action, investigate, and discover life-changing wealth. Because here's the urgent truth. These coins are rare. The market is heating up. Collectors are scrambling to secure the last known examples, and once they're locked away in private collections, the opportunity is gone, possibly forever. Now, imagine this. You find one of these 1981 D Lincoln Memorial pennies. You sell it. Suddenly, you're holding almost $1 million in your hand. What would you do? Buy your dream home? Retire early? Travel the world? Have you ever held a penny in your hand and wondered if it was worth more than a car, more than a house, maybe even more than a lifetime of work? Tonight, we're talking about a single coin that hides in plain sight. The 1983 Lincoln Memorial penny. No mint mark, just a humble 1 cent. And yet, one of these tiny copper-coated pieces of change has recently stunned the collecting world with a market value soaring as high as $983,000. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for a penny you might have walked past on the sidewalk. Now pause for a second. Imagine this, you're at the grocery store. You get some change back. You toss a penny into a jar without thinking twice. But what if that penny, the one sitting unnoticed, was the key to rewriting your financial story forever? You feel that tingle of fear. That's the thought of what you might have already given away without realizing it. And if you're tempted to click away, don't. Because by the time we're done, you'll know exactly why this coin is so rare, how to spot it, and how you could turn one ordinary cent into the kind of wealth that most people only dream about. So let's step back. 1983 was no ordinary year for pennies. The US Mint had just made a big change the year before. Instead of solid copper coins, they began striking pennies with a zinc core and a thin copper coating. A decision that seems small, but in the world of collecting, small details create legends. Now here's the twist. Among the billions of ordinary 1983 pennies, a few came out different. Some were struck with errors so rare, so unusual, that they became holy grails for collectors. And when these rare versions appear, watch out, the bidding wars begin and the prices explode. Picture this. An everyday man walks into a coin shop with a handful of old change. The shop owner looks down, then suddenly freezes. His eyes widen, because in that stack of coins lies a 1983 penny with no mint mark. A coin that should have been ordinary, but instead carries a flaw so powerful it transforms it into treasure. That man walked away holding a check worth more than most people earn in a decade. Now, here's the funny part. People throw pennies on the ground all the time. Some of you watching right now probably ignore them at the gas station. But here's the punchline. The coin you kick aside today could literally buy your retirement tomorrow. Crazy, isn't it? But let's not drift away. You need to understand why this specific penny has electrified collectors. First, the missing mint mark makes it unique. Most coins are branded with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. This one, smooth,
Bare.
almost whispering, I don't belong here. Second, some of these 1983 pennies show a dramatic doubling in the lettering and date, what experts call a double die. That mistake alone has sent collectors into frenzy, pushing values higher and higher. Now, ask yourself, do you have pennies in a jar at home? Did you keep that change from the 80s tucked away in a coffee can? Because right now, those forgotten coins might hold a secret worth almost $1 million. Here's the turning point. Right now, the coin market is hotter than ever. Collectors are paying record-breaking prices. And while most people are asleep at the wheel, living paycheck to paycheck, you're here, awake, listening, learning. That's no accident. But let me warn you, every day that passes is another chance for someone else to find the treasure you could have claimed. Imagine the regret of watching someone else hold up a coin worth $983,000 and realizing you had the same year, the same penny, but you let it slip through your fingers. Fear of missing out? It's real. But here's the flip side. The excitement, the rush, the possibility. What if you check your change tonight and discover that the dream isn't out of reach? What if you're the one holding history in your palm? So here's what to do. Start small. Gather your old jars of coins. Look closely at your pennies from 1983. No mint mark. Sharp details. Doubling in the date or lettering. If you spot something unusual, don't dismiss it. Get it checked by a professional grader or coin dealer, because 1 cent could transform your entire financial future. Now, let me interrupt myself for a second. I know what some of you are thinking. It's just a penny. This is too good to be true. But tell that to the collectors who already cashed out. Tell that to the man who traded a coin worth 1 cent for nearly $1 million payout. This is not fantasy. It's happening. So as we close, I'll leave you with this cliffhanger. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and reach into your pocket, what if the coin you pull out isn't just change? What if it's the one that changes everything? The only way to know is to look, because fortunes aren't always buried in the ground. Sometimes they're hiding right in the palm of your hand. Imagine opening a small box that's been sitting in your drawer for decades. Inside, mixed with buttons and forgotten keys, lies a single brown coin. Ordinary, scratched, faded. A penny you could have sworn wasn't worth more than a cent, but what if I told you that this one coin, this very 1988 D. Lincoln Memorial cent, could be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, a single penny, minted in Denver in 1988, has shocked collectors and investors with a current market value reaching an astonishing $988,000. Let that sink in. A coin that you might have dropped into a vending machine or handed to a cashier could actually hold the power to rewrite your financial future. Now, you might be thinking, come on, how can something so small, so ordinary, be worth more than most people's homes? That disbelief, that little laugh of doubt, is exactly where so many people have missed their chance. And that's exactly why you can't afford to look away now. Because tonight, I'm not just going to show you how to recognize this rare penny. I'm going to tell you the story of why it exists, how collectors are hunting for it right now, and how it could change your life forever. If you're lucky enough to find one. The year was 1988. Ronald Reagan was leaving office, the Berlin Wall was starting to crack, and America was shifting into a new era. Pennies were being stamped by the millions, churned out by the Denver Mint. To most, they were forgettable, tiny pieces of copper-plated zinc. But here's where the story twists. In the chaos of mass production, a small batch of 1988 D pennies was struck with a die that didn't belong to that year at all. Instead, it carried design features intended for the 1989 cent. That tiny mistake, so invisible to the naked eye that most people overlooked it, created one of the most extraordinary errors in modern coin history. Collectors call it the 1988 D reverse of 1989. Now, you might wonder, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for such a mistake? The answer lies in rarity. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a handful carry this unusual reverse. They are ghosts hidden among billions of ordinary coins. Think of it this way. If every penny were a blade of grass on a football field, this rare variety would be the single four-leaf clover growing in the corner. That is why collectors are willing to pay fortunes. And here's the part where you need to sit up. Because the difference is so subtle that unless you know exactly what to look for, you might toss it aside without realizing you just lost a fortune. The clue? Look closely at the lettering on the reverse. The spacing, the style of the initials, it reveals the 1989 reverse hiding inside a 1988 body. And when that detail is confirmed by professional grading services, the value explodes. Now imagine holding one of these in your hand. The weight feels the same. The color is no different. But the market value jumps from 1 cent to $988,000. That's not a penny. That's a portal to financial freedom. But here's the dangerous truth. For every person who finds one of these coins, there are thousands who unknowingly spend theirs at a gas station or let it roll under the couch forever. How many have slipped through your hands already? How many opportunities have been lost? This is where everything comes full circle. The story of the 1988 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. It's about the way life hides treasures in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to pay attention. Right now, collectors, dealers, and investors are scouring the nation for this coin. They're hunting through jars, safes, even old piggy banks, because they know that just one discovery could change everything. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you looked closely at the pennies in your home? The ones sitting in your kitchen drawer, your car cup holder, your childhood collection gathering dust. What if your wealth, your future, even your chance to live the life you've always imagined, is sitting right there, disguised as a penny? It's almost funny, isn't it? We spend our lives chasing dollars, chasing wealth, when sometimes the key is hiding in something so small, so overlooked. So here's my challenge to you. After this video, don't just shrug and move on. Go. Search. Look at every coin with new eyes. Because opportunity doesn't knock loudly, it whispers. And if you find it, if that rare 1988 D. Lincoln penny lands in your hand, your story will never be the same again. Remember this, ordinary coins make change. Rare coins make history. And maybe, just maybe, your fortune is waiting in the palm of your hand. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer. A jar of coins rattles in your hands. Pennies, nickels, dimes, nothing special. Until your fingers stop on one copper-colored coin. It looks ordinary. A 2001 Lincoln Memorial penny, with a tiny D stamped beneath the date. You shrug. A penny. Worth 1 cent, right? But what if I told you that this humble little coin has been valued at $201,000 in today's collector market? Yes, you heard that correctly. $201,000. 1,000 for a single penny. This isn't a myth, and it's not some internet rumor. It's the kind of hidden fortune that turns everyday people into overnight millionaires. And if you think it can't happen to you, you're exactly the kind of person who needs to stay with me until the very end of this video. Because by the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to look for in your change, your coin jars, and even that old coffee can in the garage. Now, let's begin the story of how a simple 2001 D Lincoln Memorial cent became one of the most valuable modern coins ever struck. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to step back in time. The year is 2001. America is standing on the edge of change. The U.S. Mint is producing billions of pennies, each one bearing the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, and the Denver Mint mark, represented by that small letter D under the year. Most of these coins will circulate endlessly, tossed into piggy banks and vending machines. But hidden among the billions, a few were struck differently. Tiny error here, a subtle variation there. To the untrained eye, nothing. But to collectors, these anomalies transform common coins into rare treasures worth life-changing sums. Here's where the excitement builds. The 2001 D penny isn't valuable because it's old. It's valuable because of scarcity and condition. Perfectly preserved coins with sharp strikes, flawless surfaces, and mint-state grades are nearly impossible to find. Yet, when one does appear, the bidding wars explode. 2 collectors want it. 3 collectors want it. Suddenly, a coin worth 1 cent skyrockets to hundreds of thousands at auction. Now let's pause here for a moment. Think about this. How many 2001 pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Hundreds? Thousands? What if one of them was the golden ticket, sitting unnoticed in your kitchen drawer? That's the terrifying part. You could have already held a fortune in your hand and spent it on a gumball. Humor break. Imagine explaining that to your grandkids. Yes, I once had a $201,000 penny, but I used it on a parking meter. Not the legacy anyone wants to leave behind. So let's sharpen our eyes and learn exactly what separates an ordinary 2001 D penny from the legendary ones commanding 6 figures. First, condition. Collectors pay premiums for coins graded at the highest mint state levels. MS67, MS68, sometimes higher. Each grade point can double, triple, even multiply the value by 10. A penny in your pocket will never survive in such pristine shape. That's why untouched rolls, forgotten collections, and sealed bank bags are treasure troves waiting to be discovered. Second, errors. Some 2001 D pennies were struck with double dies, meaning details on Lincoln's face or the lettering appear doubled under magnification. Others show misaligned strikes, off-center designs, or unusual planchet flaws. These quirks transform the coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible, and collectors will pay a fortune for one-of-a-kind. And third, demand. Wealthy collectors don't just want old coins, they want complete stories. They want the coin that nobody else has. The scarcity drives obsession. Obsession drives price. That's how we arrive at a $201,000 valuation for what most of us dismiss as spare change. Now let me ask you, what's in your house right now?
A forgotten penny jar.
A desk drawer filled with loose change. Maybe even a shoebox in the attic from your grandparents. Every single coin in those places holds the possibility of being your moment of wealth. But here's the catch, you only find it if you look. So the urgency is clear. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until you've got the time. Because every day, people cash in their change at the bank, letting these treasures slip away forever. And once they're gone, they're gone. If you want to live differently, if you want to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary, the opportunity is in your hands right now. The 2001 D Lincoln Memorial Penny is more than just copper and zinc. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always come in the form of a paycheck or a lottery ticket. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. So check your change. Inspect your jars. Because the next coin you pick up might not just be worth 1 cent. It could be the key to a wealthier future. And if you think that's exciting, wait until you hear about the next coin that collectors are paying over $500,000 for. But that's a story for the next video. Imagine opening an old drawer tonight, pulling out a handful of pennies, and discovering that one single coin could cover your mortgage, fund your retirement, or buy you that dream car you've been chasing for years. Sounds impossible, right? What if I told you that one ordinary-looking 2003 Lincoln Memorial penny without a mint mark has sold for as much as $203,000? Yes, a single cent. One penny, turning into life-changing wealth. But here's the catch. Most people who have this coin don't even know it. They spend it at the gas station, drop it in a tip jar, or let it collect dust in an old coffee can. Which means millions of these coins are slipping through the cracks every single day. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll reveal why this tiny piece of copper can command such a staggering value, how to know if you already own one, and why time is running out if you hope to cash in. But let's start with a simple question. Have you ever looked closely at your change, or have you been unknowingly giving away your fortune 1 cent at a time? Back in 2003, the US Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies. On the surface, they all look the same. Abraham Lincoln on the front, the memorial on the back. Ordinary, forgettable, but hidden in that massive production run are a small number of extraordinary errors. The no-mint mark pennies are the stars of this story. Usually, pennies are struck with a tiny letter under the date, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or none at all if minted in Philadelphia. But some 2003 issues stand out because of a striking error in production. No-mint mark, perfectly clean, and often with unusual qualities like doubled features or sharp strike variations. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. Collectors crave rarity. They're not paying 6 figures for the copper. It's about history, mystery, and scarcity. When a flawless, no-mint mark 2003 penny surfaces, it sends shockwaves through the collecting world. That's why the market has valued pristine examples at a jaw-dropping $203,000. And here's where the urgency kicks in. Every year, fewer of these coins remain in circulation. People are scooping them up, grading them, locking them away in private collections, which means the chances of finding one in your pocket are shrinking every single day. But pause for a second. Think about it. How many times have you dismissed a penny as worthless? Dropped it on the ground? Left it in your car's cup holder? If just one of those cents could hold 6 figures of value, the question becomes, how many fortunes have already been lost in gas station change jars? Here's the twist. Not every 2003 penny is valuable. Condition is everything. Those that are flawless, uncirculated, and professionally graded hold the highest price tags. One tiny scratch can mean the difference between $200,000 and 2 cents. That's why knowing what to look for matters. So, how do you know if you have the real treasure? Look closely at your 2003 pennies. If it carries no mint mark beneath the date, and if the coin looks unusually sharp or flawless, you might be sitting on something extraordinary. But don't guess. Send it for grading, because that professional certification is the golden ticket that transforms a penny into a small fortune. And let's be clear, this isn't just about coins. It's about awareness, about opportunity, about not overlooking the small things that could transform your life. Every rare coin story begins with an ordinary person, someone just like you who cared enough to look. Now, I'll leave you with this cliffhanger. Imagine that you go check your coins tonight and you find a flawless 2003 no-mint mark penny. Do you sell it for $203,000 right away? Or do you hold it, betting that as time passes, collectors will pay even more? That decision could be the one that defines your financial future. Because at the end of the day, the question isn't whether these coins are out there. They are. The real question is, are you going to be the one who finds it before it's too late?